Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe Miraculous Ladybug, the new Powerpuff Girls, and Voltron Legendary Defender, among others. I am Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hello.
Today, Delaney and I will be discussing the finale of Voltron Legendary Defender Season 1, the Black Paladin, along with the rest of the season as a wrap-up. We just watched the Black Paladin. We've been going through all the episodes of Voltron Legendary Defender, which released yesterday. I'm finishing it today on Saturday. And you can check all of our previous podcasts out on this at overlyanimated.com and look at our iTunes feed there or find them there. Let's spoilers for all of Voltron Legendary Defender Season 1. Let's get right into this. Delaney, initial reaction to the finale.
It was just a big fight scene.
Yes, accurate.
So Zarkon's the Black Paladin? Question mark.
Yeah, I guess that's the big reveal, is that Zarkon is the original pilot of the Black Paladin. Okay.
But then it's like, you're the original pilot, but wasn't it made by Alteans? What? Also, what? Okay, so what's his face? What's his name? Ponrock, whatever his name is. Prorak?
Yeah.
Prorak, whatever. Is he, what? Did he, betray Zarkon? Why?
Was that Prorak or was that Sendak?
Was it Sindak?
I don't know.
I don't know. He didn't look like, it wasn't Sindak. No, it was definitely Prorak, because, Sindak, looks like a mouse, and this wasn't the mouse guy. What? There are so many
things. Like the mouse guy. Whatever. Yeah, I don't understand why
there's a lot going on in this episode that makes, zero sense. And we didn't really get what I wanted about Shiro. We didn't really... Nothing really happened. I mean, I liked the episode.
There weren't a lot of, big character moments.
Right, yeah. No. It was just, fighting, and, again, Keith, Keith, what are you? You just... Yeah. Don't speak, and you just attack everything. I don't know what to do with you.
Yeah, I think that we kind of called it last podcast when we said that they'd basically wrapped up everything that we wanted. So they could just do this one fight scene now, which is okay. I think it's Voltron. Obviously, the last episode is going to be a giant fight scene.
Yeah, I mean, it looked really cool. And Keith got a new weapon, which is okay, what can't the lions do? At this point, just do whatever they want.
Yeah, I don't understand why Keith had a new weapon.
I don't either. And then also, so as far as we understood the Bayards, you just had a weapon that is specific to you as a paladin, but Zarkon had the Black Paladin's Bayard, and he just kept doing whatever the heck he wanted with it. So maybe that's something they can do with the Bayards. You could just do whatever you want.
Is that what's? Oh, you're saying that's what Zarkon has? That's his weapon.
That's what it looks like, a Bayard. So
okay, that makes more sense, because his just transforms into anything.
Yeah, he just does whatever he wants.
Okay, because we did say one of the things that needed to be addressed in the finale was Black Paladin's Bayard, right? So I guess Zarkon just has it.
Which is, I mean, if he's the original Black Paladin, that makes sense.
I don't know why he's fighting Keith. I thought that was an interesting choice, because he could have been fighting Shiro. But I guess Shiro having to fight the witch who did that to him makes more sense, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the witch fight didn't really amount to anything.
Yeah, it was just more of the most surface level of the psychological battle.
Yeah. Also, I thought they were fighting in his head for a little bit, but then no, they weren't. He just got blinded or whatever for a little bit.
I assume some of it was in his head, but I'm not sure.
It was very confusing. I will say all of the fights in this episode are very hard to follow.
I agree.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a good finale. I don't think it was the best episode of the season or anything.
Oh no, it was definitely a good finale. It's the finale, they could do this. We could have a giant fight, and we had to fight Zarkon. We had to have something with him. And finding out he's the Black Paladin, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, so we did see Zarkon fighting. We were wondering if that was going to happen. Are you impressed?
With Zarkon?
Yeah.
No, I mean...
No?
He can do whatever he wants, but I don't... I'm interested to see, what I'm fascinated by is that he was the Black Paladin. Why? You're... Gora,
I mean, humans are the paladins right now.
Yeah, no, that's not my thing. Because then it suggests that for Alteans that when they had the anyone can, obviously we knew anyone could be a paladin, but in my mind I was just thinking that the last whatever paladins were Altean, but
Yeah.
it doesn't appear to be that. That's not the case.
So
So
the Alteans seem to have spread the pilots among the
yeah, like
different races.
well, it makes sense that it like if the lions choose.
Potentially, this might suggest Galra and Altea had a connection, like a close
Well,
bond
she
back in the
did.
day.
No, she did. I mean, Allura did say that she's like, oh, well, before the war, I was with my father all the time. Like, we went to
Hmm.
supply ships and stuff. So, like, they were allies. So, this suggests, I think, that um, uh, now I can't say his name. It's just
Zarkon.
letters in my head.
Yeah, it
Zarkon
is kind of
was
just
a
letters. His name
yeah,
ZK. Yeah.
yeah. So Zarkon, he like he was the Black Paladin, and then for whatever reason, he decided that he wanted like all of the power for himself, and like started
Yeah.
the war.
Yeah. He
So it's
did.
interesting if the origins of his obsession with Voltron is because like he was like part of Voltron.
Yeah. That is, yeah, that is interesting, and that makes sense. We I'm thinking of the possibilities of before the war. Yeah, I mean, he might have known Allura when they were like similar ages. That seems like
Well,
that should have been something that
he
happened.
seems like they know them, and that like she and
She was pretty pissed at him when they
yeah,
met.
no, she was pretty
You
mad.
destroyed
So
Altea, she said. Yeah.
yeah, so we just need more. We need to have an episode where just like 10,000 years ago, blah 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 blah.
I think we get the most fitting ending possible to the series.
Yes.
The setup for next season is, of course, one of the most used tropes in this type of shows.
Yep.
We're going to scatter our characters and then have to find each other again. I
Yep.
mean, I is Tim aware of how typical all his plots are? That's kind of I'd love to talk to him about the choices for this.
It's like, do you know? Are you
I assume
aware?
he does know, and I think it's intentional. And it's not like the
Yeah.
show this season was bad, but it's just
Right.
like this is the series that I've watched that seems like the most typical story elements put into one that I've seen.
Yeah. Well, it might be something in that like, season 1, you got to get people's interest. We got to get through all of the sci-fi tropes and then we can move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I do think we're setting up for potentially more interesting things. This finale does like eschew some of the typical season finale tropes. It's like we don't have any big character moments at the end. We don't have like
No one
romantic
died.
conciliations. No one dies, right? Like, very much seems like an '80s action series finale.
Yes, and they just get scattered everywhere.
Yeah. I was fine with the ending. I guess it's fine. I do like the possibilities of all of them being separated.
Yeah, well, it's like I want to see what happens because it's like we haven't like they all work in little groups, so it'll be interesting to see like what they actually do when they're actually on their own.
Yes, and we can only hope that the first two to find each other will be Keith and Lance. Um,
Yes,
we can
we
only
can only
hope.
hope.
Um, yeah, so we'll talk, maybe speculate at the
Oh, we
end.
didn't see no parents, no
No parents,
family.
yeah, that
Well,
wasn't.
it's dad and brother, but
Well, sucks that I'm just annoyed that that's going to be a plot now in season two.
it's
That's
still
my main
going
thing.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I'm pretty annoyed by it. I mean, at least we dealt with Allura's dad, so
Yes, we
hashtag
did.
no parents ever.
No, no parents, please. Yeah. Um. Okay, so let's talk. Let's start this out with Keith's character in this finale. So in the beginning, we have them talking about saving Allura, and Keith's like, we don't need to, like, bad idea. And then
Yeah.
and Hunk's like, Keith, that's cold even for you. And then later we see him fighting Zarkon and getting this new weapon. So what do you think of Keith? The result of Keith's character in the finale?
He's just not a person. Like I
Yeah.
don't like I like Keith, but he's not really a person. Like he just fights things and
Yeah,
then
I don't have a big sense of his
talks
motivations
sometimes. Yeah, that's what I think.
still.
Like I don't and there is him and Shiro are something, and I just don't know what it is. Like
They didn't hit on that, yeah.
well, like what is going on? Like what are you, Keith? Like what just what makes you tick? Like there's just we have no sense of who he is. Like zero. He's just this he sometimes says rude things and he's like but like he just doesn't
I do think this is one of the first season's failings is Keith's
yeah.
character.
Well, it's the thing, it's just like all of the other characters are I mean, they're all pretty well characterized at this point, and then we have Keith, and it's like, what are you? You're just he's not even a caricature. Like he there's literally nothing. Like he like fight stuff, and it's not even that he gets angry and he's hot-headed, like he just does what he does, and we're like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why aren't you listening to um
Koran and
yeah, and
yeah.
well, I mean, I think they've hinted at that he doesn't have a family because, like, before, like, we all have families and blah, 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 blah. And then when they showed, like, the memories, it was his house and this and this. And it's like, I think we're suggesting that he's alone, which, like, that's fine, but we kind of need to talk about it. Like, why are you so, like, there might have been something said about how, like, I don't know, but, like, maybe Zarkon has specifically done something to him. I don't know. But
Yeah.
none of it makes sense, and we
Yeah,
just
we did. We
need
never
answers.
got into why he was like expelled from the garrison. We
Yeah,
didn't like that. You'd assume that would be a flashback
right.
episode, but like, nope, nothing. So this is definitely a season 2 plot that we'll have to
Yeah.
get into.
Like we really need to get into Keith because it's like he's not a character. Like he doesn't. There's nothing. He's just there.
Yeah, what did you think of his fight with Zarkon?
I mean, it's a super cool fight and it looks awesome. I mean, we
Yeah,
don't understand why he's fighting him, but like it works. Like it looks nice, and he gets a new weapon. And I mean, this kind of characterizes Keith in that like he's kind of an idiot. Like like
hmm
he's, or I guess he's persistent and he keeps going at Zarkon. It's just even when Karan's like, stop. But
yeah. I wasn't super blown away with that fight, I guess, but it was okay.
like it looked cool. It just wasn't. It wasn't anything. I mean, it's interesting that we had like a person fighting the lion.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I that is a good, interesting concept. Yeah, he's definitely very Ozai-ish,
Yeah.
like when he takes off of his his whatever armor that was or
Right. Yeah.
something. Yeah. Um, yeah, I thought that. Yeah, I think that conceptually that fight is not necessarily anything interesting, but visually it was pretty good. What do we think of the? So, what do you think of Shiro in this finale? More conceptually, him addressing his past when he was the champion, but nothing super specific about that.
Yeah, like it's like I'm glad we talked about it kind of, but I mean again, there's no depth. We don't really discuss it. I mean, I'm imagining like that it's going to have serious repercussions later. Like we're going to have to really talk about it and like address, because there's like you could have been our greatest weapon and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that him in this finale was good enough because we got into his stuff in
Yeah.
previous episodes. Like, I think
Yeah.
we did get there with him.
Yes. Like
So,
enough for the first season.
yeah. So, what do you think of his fight with Hagar?
It wasn't really a special fight. It wasn't really like interesting. It was, it's very typical.
It
Oh,
was
you can
very
hold the fly.
visually unique. But like it was very much like the psychological fight trope.
Yeah.
It was hard to follow a little bit.
Oh
And
yeah, it was really confusing, but I
yeah.
mean it was cool. Like it was a good fight.
Yeah, I, I I think it was good, and but it can like in terms of like substance, like narrative, what's happening during that is kind of nothing. Like kind of
Yeah.
nothing happens.
It
I
was interesting that when like, when we were seeing the fight from Shiro's perspective, like all like we had, they he couldn't tell who was who, but then when Allura and Hunk came in, that she was like, oh, like they're all kind of faded. I don't know if that was like a special
yeah
Altean ability or if it's because like she was actually attacking his mind, kind of
yeah that's a good point. Yeah
it could be some sort of like spell, kind of like whoever the focus is, like kind of like a wider area attack kind of thing.
yeah I think that's probably true. I think there's definitely she's attacking his mind in that fight, like
Yeah,
for sure.
so it was interesting.
Yeah. Before any of that, we have them forming Voltron and Voltron like shooting down a bunch of ships. Seemed pretty easy. That seemed like they took
Yeah,
out most of the Altean fleet or the whatever fleet, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
you
Just
know
just
it's pretty cool. Like they're also, it's like this honestly was the first time I was like, now I understand why he's so obsessed with Voltron. Because before it was kind of like Voltron's like not that great,
yeah.
like, but now it's like, oh no, Voltron's like pretty cool. So I like, finally we kind of have a sense of this is what Voltron can do, and this is why everyone like loves Voltron, is afraid of Voltron, wants Voltron.
Yeah, I agree. This was the biggest showcase of Voltron's power. He takes out a ton of ships and it's pretty
Yes.
easy. Yeah, so let's go through another. I think big highlight for me is Allura. The bringing Allura to Zarkon. You destroyed Altea. Gets upset. Zarkon says, "Your dad led me to believe that he destroyed Voltron. Like you can't, you have to keep it away from me. That's why your dad led me to believe. So I think this kind of explains one of the big questions we had earlier,
Yeah.
which is like, why are they parading around the Red Lion? It's because he didn't think the rest of them were alive, right?
Yeah, like he
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, it's here."
yeah. So they just happen to keep keeping it there, I
Yeah.
guess. Seems like that's an easy trick. Like, oh, I destroyed it. No, I actually just sent it across the universe. Like,
Yeah, yeah, for real. Like, "Oh, I destroyed it." LOL, no, I just sent it where you'll never find it.
you should know better, Zarkon.
For real. Like also like I don't think Voltron can be destroyed like cuz honestly we see it get attacked and beat up and stuff and all the time, but like this is the first time we see it forced to separate and it's like I mean, yeah, when the closest we've come is when Zarkon was like going to impale Keith, but I don't necessarily know if really can the lions be destroyed? Can Voltron like we've never really seen it take like considerable damage. Like we've seen like the shield, blow apart, but I don't really know if they can like they talk about it a lot, but like can they destroy Voltron?
Does seem very difficult to do.
Like is that even possible?
Yeah, it may be maybe just like hiding, separating the lines is the
Right.
best strategy to get rid of it.
Oh, it is, but my thing is that I just like it's interesting because like they keep attacking Voltron and he wants Voltron, so it's like and it's not like they were holding back, so I actually think it's probably impossible to destroy Voltron. Like I don't think you can.
Um,
Which is probably why it makes it so powerful. Like, yeah, it can do a lot of stuff, and it's also like I don't think it can be destroyed.
I think that's possible. I mean, I think you could probably kill a lion, but I'm not sure. Like we haven't seen it, so
Yeah,
it's hard.
right.
It's hard to know.
I
What
mean,
do
and
you,
if you kill a lion, then Voltron's dead anyway. So
right? So like that's the question: is can you just kill a lion? Like, and I think it's possible. Like I assume if no one was piloting the red, if Keith was not in the lion, Voltron could have just or Zarkon could have just like stabbed it through. Like,
right,
but maybe not. What do you think of the concept of Allura was the one that was making the wormhole jumps possible the entire time on the ship?
that makes sense.
Does
But it's
it?
also, I mean, she's literally at that in her little special whatever. Whenever she does it, like I don't. I mean, I'm glad they kind of explained the wormhole that it wasn't like because they have like it literally has runes around it like when they have the wormhole, so it's clearly not like
Yeah.
scientific in nature, like it's magic. So it makes sense. It's kind of an interesting blurb to kind of like throw out in an episode like this.
Yeah. I mean, it's what it served the purpose that they couldn't escape without Allura in the
Right.
finale. Whatever. Like that's okay. What do you think of their solar barrier around?
It was purple. I don't really solar. I don't really. I mean,
Space swords, solar barrier. Yeah.
they had to like. They had to trap them. I understand that. But then it's also like I don't know, we just didn't encounter it really. Like they didn't touch it. It didn't really like hurt anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's whatever. We had the. Yeah, I don't know why they had whoever like freeing them. I guess that's what they're
like
gonna
I
come back to
have
that.
no idea. I have no idea what was going on. Like
It had to have been Prorak or Sendak.
yeah. But then it's like Prorac doing it makes zero sense. Like actual zero sense.
Does Sendak make any sense them doing it? I don't even know.
No, I mean none of them. But Sindak makes like slightly more sense in
I
that
don't know.
Sindak is none of it makes sense. Like I really don't get it. Like
I do wish they set that up more.
was it Prorac does it just because he gets yelled at too much and he's tired of it? Like none, like just don't. None of it makes sense.
He's
Like
just tired of it. Yeah.
I was
when
expecting them to kind of when they were doing the sequence. I was expecting it to be like a new character or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. Like no clue.
Yeah. It was interesting. When Voltron's killing all the ships, we have him use Keith's sword first, and then he gets on Hunk's blaster cannon, and it seems like why don't we just use that blaster cannon the entire time, because that just takes out like 10 giant ships at once.
No,
Like,
see, all of the characters on the show have like this just innate fixation on having a sword. Like Voltron always goes back to the sword. Zarkon kept going back to his sword. Like, just when you can have robots and like giant weapons, I do not
giant
understand this.
robot gun is better than giant robot sword. IMO.
Yes,
More effective.
yeah, it's more effective. I personally prefer swords, but yes, it's definitely more effective in a fight. Like you should use the giant cannon, but whatever.
Yeah. We had Zarkon. Oh, in the beginning, Zarkon, or when they're approaching, they like are zapping Zarkon with I assume quintessence, and
Yeah.
he's like psychologically affecting their Voltron as they're coming, and he like forces them to break off. What do you think of that?
Well, I assume he's like attacking like specifically the Black Lion, and since the Black Lion's the head, it makes sense. Like the Black Lion's in charge, so he's like reasserting his control over the Black Lion, which
Yeah, I
makes
guess
sense. I buy it.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. But that was interesting.
I was confused for a while because I thought I was like, is he just like trying to manipulate Shiro? I don't really get it. But then like, no, and he's like, I'm the Black Paladin. I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense now.
Yeah, that it does make more sense with that revelation, I guess. Koran attacking with the ship. Um, okay, I guess we'll give his character a moment.
Yeah, he can be there, I guess.
What else we got? I think we talked about most of the other stuff. Zarkon going into space. I was surprised that Zarkon himself needed to go outside. That was,
When he just dropped, and I was like, whoa, okay. But I mean, he
yeah.
was trying to get the Black Lion, so like it makes sense.
Um, and then the Shiro saves Keith.
Yes.
That whole
Honestly,
sequence happened very fast. Like
yeah.
they saved Hunk and Allura. Yeah, Hunk saves Allura. First of all, I liked that.
Yes.
Hunk doing
Yes.
something was really cool, and it was his idea. And then Hunk and Allura save Shiro, and then immediately Shiro saves Keith. That was very fast.
Yeah, no, it happened. I mean, I honestly thought at first that it was just the Black
I
Lion
thought it was the
coming to
Black Lion
save.
on his own. I was like, wow, that's really cool. But
Yeah, no, I was super excited, but
no,
then no, it was Shiro.
it's
But
yeah, unfortunately. Um, and I think that's it. Scattering
yeah,
the lions. Good move or bad move by Witch Hagger scattering all the lions.
obviously a terrible move because it's like, great, we got to find them all again.
Well, terrible move for us, or
Yeah.
for them. I don't know, but I think it's a miscalculation because they're all come back stronger.
Yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
that's how that works.
So, do you like the? We talked about the trope at the end. I do at least like this trope. This usually happens in video games. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Like
mean, I'm
in an
fine with it.
RPG.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, everyone's
Yeah.
gotta go find everybody.
So yeah, I mean, this series definitely seems like a video game for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So talk about the series overall because so to a certain extent let's evaluate the finale. I think a little bit disappointing as a finale.
Yeah, it's a little like it was fine. It's certainly not like the best of the series or anything. Like it's fine. It wasn't terrible. I still think it's better than the premiere.
For sure better than the premiere, for sure. I think every episode was better than the premiere since the premiere.
Yep, accurate.
But I mean, I don't know if this would even be in my top 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's not like there's not really any substance to it. Like we have a few good moments, but overall it's just like a giant fight scene, which finales are allowed to be, but that's just not there just isn't a lot going for it.
Yeah. Okay, season as a whole, what is your impression of the series looking back?
I think it was pretty solid. I mean, we talked about all the episodes and like none of the episodes are bad. Like and none I wouldn't even classify any of them really as like decent. Like obviously the premiere isn't as great as the rest of the season, but like every single episode is at least good, like solidly good. And for the most part, I mean, the majority of the episodes are great and fantastic. And I think like this series has a lot of potential. And I think we are going somewhere. Like I don't think it's just I mean, it's already blown away my expectation of it's just like, oh, we're Voltron, we're just gonna turn to Voltron every episode and fight stuff. No, like we actually have storyline and we're going places and we have interesting characters and interesting relationships. So, it's good stuff overall.
Yeah, I wonder whether the key is going to be to break free of the tropiness going forward. I'm not sure.
That's I think that's the biggest I think it's a hurdle we need to get over.
I don't know
Like,
if you need to like not have like archetypal episodes, but I just think you need to do more ambitious characterization.
yes. Well, I mean, we can have tropes, but like they don't need to be every single episode. Like every single
Yeah,
episode can be boiled down to a like sci-fi trope. Like
yeah. So, but yeah, and you probably need to have less, but it's like, I don't know. I think the character work needs to be improved.
yes,
I mean, I think most of everything outside of the writing was very good, but it's not like we had like the best fight sequence ever every episode.
right,
So there's room for improvement there too. Like, I mean,
definitely.
I would rank the fight sequences, Voltron versus the first giant robot in the 3rd episode, number 1.
Yes.
Then I would say like Keith versus the druid in the second to last episode.
Yeah.
And then I guess some of the stuff from the finale. So it's like if the finale didn't even have your two best fights, obviously there's room for improvement there, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, it's getting like we need to start doing more interesting things with the fights. Like it's just overall because I was getting kind of tired of the finale, like in the fights. I was like, okay, like can we do something? Like I'm getting tired of watching them blow up ships. Like we can't spend like 5 minutes blowing up ships. Like we need something else. So I think like we're gonna have to, you know,
The finale is indicative. I mean, to a certain extent, this is always going to be a Voltron series, but
right.
the finale is indicative of the problems that the series encountered, which is like they totally just focused on the action and left the characters to the side.
Yeah.
Now they got themselves to a position where that was acceptable. Like it absolutely did
Yes.
not ruin anything. They addressed every beat that we wanted. I mean, like I said, they should have. They're going to do the family thing, but it's not like they didn't need to. So,
Right.
but
And th-
really, except for I guess Keith, like they fulfilled the characterization necessary for the season before the finale. So
yes.
it was fine.
And they got Voltron to a point where it was like interesting to watch Voltron fight. So like we just going forward, like we're gonna have to like we need to have more abilities. Like what else can Voltron do? We have to see Voltron do like other stuff because like it's gonna get really annoying like real quick when it's just like okay, sword, shoulder cannon,
Yeah.
sword, shoulder cannon. Like we gotta do some more stuff.
Yeah,
Like
breaking the new territory with Voltron, I think that'd be good. Yeah.
which I think
Um,
we're gonna do with the characters. Like separating the characters. I think it puts us in a good place where we can like do some more characterization, more development. More establishing of characters.
yeah. I think that recommendation for season two, get rid of the transformation sequence. Just
Yes.
don't need to do it. I
No,
did
it's
start.
pretty,
I said on one podcast we stopped talking about it. It means I skipped it. I started
yeah.
skipping it, and I did. I started skipping it. So
Like it's just like it's cool. Voltron's cool. Yes, it's really cool that he turns into a giant robot. But like it takes so
yeah, I
long.
don't think
Like
you just.
it's
I just don't
just
think you need to see him transform. Like you can just show
no.
him. You can just have him
It could
go up
just
in the sky and have him come down.
yeah, it could just be Voltron. Like we don't need this 30-second. Honestly, it's like a minute. Like it takes so
It's really
long.
long. I'm sure there's people who have more of a nostalgic view of the old series who disagree with
Yeah.
that, and that's fine. Like we don't have that,
Yeah.
so I can't talk about it. But
I mean
from
I mean
a pure storytelling perspective,
yes.
it's just a waste. I think.
Yes. And also from seeing like literally three different parody versions of the Voltron transformation, it's really hard for me to take it seriously because it's like everyone has made fun of it and like how long it is.
Hmm. Yeah. So I think that this series is also just like it's very tropey, but it's also very like surface level on most storytelling aspects. I mean, like we didn't get any romance this
Right.
season, so it's not like it wasn't progressive because there was none at all. But it's also just you're not doing anything particularly outside the box with any of your characters, or like a male romance would at least be like outside the typical
Yeah.
tropey box. Like something like that, like that's why the highlight of the whole season is probably the Pidge stuff because it was like different.
Yeah.
Now that being said, it was still treaded upon territory on its own. I've seen that at least twice. I can name two specific instances of that exact thing happening. But at least it was slightly unexpected. But I do really think we need to break into new territory with our characters.
Definitely. We need to set the show apart and it needs to like be like it has so much potential to not just be this like yeah, Vulture like it's gorgeous watching it. I enjoy it, but it's like honestly like these episodes, there's some interesting things with the mythology of this universe. But other than that, we've seen all of these episodes. Like we've seen these stories and we have to break this trope box because
Yeah.
it's going to be really hard because they can't there's like we're liking it. It's new, and they're doing kind of interesting things with some of the tropes, and like the characters are like they're kind of quirky here and there, and it's funny and it's fun to watch. But at a certain point, we're gonna get tired of seeing the same stuff we've seen in like every other sci-fi
Yeah, we
series
can't
ever.
we can't do a season two the same as season one. It won't work as well.
It'll
I actually think like the episode tropes are were done pretty well.
yeah,
I
no,
don't
they were
think those are
done
really.
fine.
I don't think those are like the problem. I think it's like the character tropes
Yeah,
that are
that's yeah. Honestly, that's the worst part. Like I can deal with the episodes. It's just like
like I'm not ready
the
to call the archetypal episodes a negative with the season. I am ready to call Keith's lack of characterization a negative. So it's things like
yes.
that, that I
Because
think
if we
really
have
need to.
different characters doing things we've seen before, that's different than characters you've seen before doing things you've seen before.
Yeah. So I think super interesting comparison and the obvious one to make for this season is Korra Book One. Um,
Yes.
on the top of your head, how do you think this is similar or different from Korra Book One?
Well, I will say it's tropier than book one of Korra.
And Book One of Korra was
But
pretty tropey, but this is way
yeah, it
tropier.
was. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is like literally every single episode's a trope.
Yeah.
I will say, book one of Korra did do a little bit more for its characters
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
and I mean, they were very much like, honestly, they were all kind of stereotypical archetype characters, but there were moments they were different and they did branch out a little bit more here and there on book one. But here it's just like, I love the characters, but like we keep comparing them to other characters because they're just other characters. Like, we've seen these archetypes so many times.
Right. So here's how I'd look at it. Korra Book One was we thought it was like tropey and like not super ambitious, but
Yep.
compared to this show, its characterizations were wonderful.
Yes.
And like like the Mako and Korra stuff in the middle of the season was super frustrating and like,
Yes.
but at least it was like different and
Well, they were doing something with the characters. Like, they
and
were.
like I felt passionate about it. Like even if it was a
Yes.
hatred, like
Yes.
I don't like
You felt
particularly care about any of these people. And I know like I do, like to a certain extent I do, but compared to even Korra, all the Korra characters during book one, I have
Right.
much stronger feelings for them one way or another. I think that this season is a more polished and consistent version of Korra book one, but it lacks in the ambitious things that Korra book one did.
There's just nothing like extra going on, or like, you know, it's not pushing the, like, even if it was pushing the envelope and doing it badly, that would be something. But like, there's just nothing really going on.
It's not, yeah, like think of the Amon and Tarlok scene in the season Korra book
Right.
one finale. There's nothing close to that.
No,
That was so
nothing like
good and
that.
so ambitious, and there's just nothing here. Like
No.
that's
Like, it's safe. Everything about this season was safe.
it's really safe, yeah. And I think I think that was intentional. I think that you're
Right.
rebooting this old property. You want to stick to it to the most part and make a safe season one. And I think it's fine. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to put it in perspective. Like, obviously, this season wasn't anywhere close to Korra books 3 and 4
No.
levels of quality, and people disagree whether 4 should be in that conversation. But
Yeah.
you can say 3 if you want. And I also don't think it's on the same level as Korra book 1.
No.
Yeah, I think it's a conversation about whether it's better or worse than book 2. Obviously, it's obviously there were like, I think there are solid 5 episodes of Korra book 2 which were below average television quality, and there's none here
Yes.
that are close to that. At
Yeah.
the same time, I think the high points of Korra book 2 are better than the high points of this season.
Yes.
So it's a discussion, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
but I will say, I mean, we do need, like, this is a solid start. Like, this is, they had a season, and the majority of episodes, basically all of the episodes, they're good. Every single episode is good. And we don't really have any of, like, like you said, like the lows that were book 2 of Korra, or like every single episode's good. I mean, it's more solid than, Miraculous Ladybug, and it's just a solid season.
Right. This is a better season of television than season 1 of Miraculous Ladybug, and
Yeah.
I really love season 1 of Miraculous
Yeah,
Ladybug. This is
Ladybug's
better.
awesome.
I guess I
Yeah.
don't feel as passionate about the characters of this
That's
show.
the thing.
then.
Like,
Yeah.
Ladybug has some like really solid characterization. They're doing some interesting things with the characters, and then here we're just like, oh, okay.
Like, I love Marinette better than any character here by like tenfold.
Yes.
But this season was more consistent, better animation, like stuff like that. I do think it's interesting compare it to what the situation after Korra Book 1. After Korra Book 1, we're like, okay, you need to fix this. You need to fix Makora. You
Yeah.
need to fix like the like not paying off your season long mystery as well. The show doesn't have any fix things, I think, except
no,
for
there's
maybe
nothing-
like Keith's expand the characterization is the closest thing
Right.
that comes to it. But it's like, do more, not fix it. Do more now. Like, that's
Yeah, like
my
nothing's
thing.
broken. Nothing's like, there hasn't been any horrific, like problems. They just need and honestly, it's kind of encouraging. We have a season 2. Everyone's separated. Honestly, this is the best. Like, we're gonna enter season 2 on the best place we could. Everyone's separated. That's so, like, literally like the best mixture for character development and actually like doing something different. And like, I think they've set themselves up really well, and like I think they've set themselves up to like unleash really what they really want to do with Voltron. because I think the pieces are there. Like, I think we do have a lot of potential for this to be different and, to really push and be ambitious. It's just we had to do this, we had to, it's, old property. We have to get settled in, kind of have to
Right.
deal with this mythology that honestly makes zero sense, and we have to kind of be careful with it. And
So I think it was all intentional playing it safe, but we need, if we're doing season 2 now, we can't just play it safe again. I mean, you could, and it'd
right,
probably be watchable, but
right.
I don't know if it'd even be interesting enough to podcast on.
Oh, and it wouldn't, or you wouldn't want to really binge watch it even.
Yeah, I don't know
Like,
if I'd care enough to binge watch. Yeah, like I think we need to do more here. I know these writers are capable of more. Tim Hedrick wrote City of Walls and Secrets, one of the best animated episodes of American animation ever. I mean, he wrote like all these other episodes. Josh Hamilton's capable of more. Josh Hamilton wrote Rebirth in Korra Book 3. He wrote After All These Years, the premiere of Korra Book 4. Like these are episodes that do so much more than anything Voltron's doing, and a lot of that has to do with top series direction. And like Joaquin and Lauren need to just make the decision to do more now in season 2, and the decision has been made already. Like they're probably very far
right.
into production on it, but that's not the point. Like, but it needs to come from the top, and then like free up these incredible writers, Tim, Josh, and May to do more, and pair that along with your the thing that's already there, which is the absolutely incredible production. And that's the biggest positive with this season, is it's just the most gorgeous piece of animation we've seen in a few years on
Yes.
television. And maybe like have some more ambitious fight sequences, free up Joaquin to storyboard them, and there you go. Then that's like an incredible season of television. Like
Yes.
it's within reach for season 2, I think.
And there's so many, like, and the thing is, they're not bound by any mythology. Like, the Voltron mythology is, like, frankly very weak. Like, they're magical lions and they
Yeah.
turn into a giant robot and they save stuff. Like, you have so much room to do whatever the heck you want. Like, there's magic and science and we're in space. Like, there is zero limits to what we can do.
It's at the very least very general, and you can move
Yeah.
from there. Like you don't need
Like,
to just because we need to stick with the Voltron
right.
mythology doesn't mean we need to not move beyond it. You can have it as a
Right.
foundation and then add interesting things to it.
Like, we can do so much. Like, this, I think this definitely has the potential to be like it could be, honestly, it could turn into, like, well, like, take Doctor Who for example. Like, okay, Doctor Who's been running for, like, 60 years. It's only the longest running sci-fi, series ever, but it Doctor Who really doesn't, like, it has an established mythology, and people like to say there's like, oh, there's so much stuff. We like know zero about Gallifrey, like zero, and there's so much, like, there is just so much you don't know about Doctor Who, but like you can, like, it's such an unlimited,
Yeah,
like, and you,
like say what you want about Stephen Moffat. He's been expanding the Gallifrey
yeah,
mythology recently, right? Like it's that type of
yeah.
thing.
And you can take characters like, we have like such incredible episodes, like, I can't remember what it's called now, but like where you have a character like the 12th Doctor killing himself over and over and over again to try and just, like, you can do such, like, we're in space and you can just do whatever. Like, we have like, also we have like this 10,000, we have this established, it's been 10,000 years, like, we can do ridiculous stuff because, like, even Allura would be like, I don't know what this is, like, I was asleep for 10,000 years. Like, there's so much,
Yeah,
like,
That Doctor Who episode is maybe the perfect example. Heaven Sent last season, which I think is the best Doctor Who episode ever, and one of the best written episodes of television I've ever seen.
it's
And
incredible.
like that's based off of such a broad mythology. Moffat uses selective things and expands upon them and uses it to create one of the most in-depth characterizations I've seen on TV. You can go from a general place of mythology and expand where you want to and achieve a higher level of storytelling. It's possible. We've seen it with Doctor Who, other shows. We've seen it with, honestly, Korra. Korra Book
Yeah.
1 was pretty surface level. And it took a little bit, but we got to the incredible height of Korra Book 3, which is the best animated season of television IMO in
Like,
American
ever.
yeah, ever. So, like, you can do it. And honestly, like, I don't think it's fair to assume the series won't do it. I think the talent's there, obviously. And the only question is whether they want to do it or whether they would be beholden to the original property, which is a place we arrive at a lot with this podcast.
Right.
I think that's like the big question. Like, do they want to be more ambitious? And I think we will see pretty quickly into season 2 whether the answer is yes or
Yeah.
no.
And I really, really hope so. All of the pieces are here. There's so much potential. And it's not even like you'd be betraying old Voltron. They just wouldn't be, they can turn Volt. Like they could take this, 80s space opera, travel log, saving planets and, just turning into a giant robot and beating things up into like an incredible journey for like these characters and like what it is to be Voltron, and they could just do so much with it. And I really like, and I don't think like they don't have to staying true to the property. What is there to stay true to? Like you're a giant robot and you fight things. That's really it. That's all you have to do,
I
and
think
they
they
can
did.
do that.
Yeah.
Still,
And I think they expressed, like, with this first season, they did express the desire to not be super beholden
yeah,
to the original. They didn't print. I know they didn't transfer over everything, and they're willing to change the gender of one of our main
yes,
characters. Like we know they can do this type of stuff. So it's not necessarily about contradicting the original
right.
mythology. I don't think there's a ton to even contradict. It's
Yeah, I
just
don't
not
think
that
there. I
much.
really don't think there's
It's
enough.
like I think and they think they did get into this a little bit. Like I don't know if anything with quintessence was in the original
Right.
property or not. Like you can get like we're starting to get to get there to more interesting elements. But like, what's a second thing other than quintessence that they were doing that was kind of interesting? I don't know. Like nothing. Like
Yeah,
the ship flying. Like that's kind of interesting.
yeah. That's
Right, but there's not that much
Polara.
there. So I guess the Balmera, the living planet, but that's like they didn't. I don't know if they did anything special with that. Like
Right.
is very tropey. So um, we'll see. I do hope that they have a desire. I don't like. I only think they're limited by the desire to do more. Um, I know if Mike and
Yes.
Brian were were the showrunners that they would. Um, I don't think they would have accepted doing the Voltron reboot if they definitely wouldn't unless they could do more. I'm
Right.
not sure if Joaquin Lauren and the other producers like or have their hands tied, right, and or anything like that, but I do hope that they do want to do more. That being said, I mean, this was somewhat of a harsh 10 minutes, of course. Joaquin and Lauren, their first like show that they created, like that this is a spectacular first season of television for
Yes.
those
Like
two.
this is.
I mean, come on, and everyone involved with this. Tim, his first job, I assume his first time he's been leading the writers' room. It was a very good job. Everyone did a great job with this. I mean, this was a very good season of television.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's honestly probably the most solid first season of anything that we really cover. Like we have, I mean, aside from like not counting Steven Universe or anything, but like this Miraculous Ladybugs first season was not this solid.
I mean,
You
if you
know,
count like the first half of Steven Universe's first season as its first season, like the
yeah,
first 26 episodes, give me this over
right,
that. Give
yeah,
me, this was more consistent than Avatar Book One. I'll take
yeah,
Avatar Book One over this, but this was more consistent.
right.
Again, this is more consistent than Korra Book One. Again, give me Korra Book One over this. But like, in terms of consistent quality, there's very, very few shows that achieve it this quickly. And it was from episode one, even though the premiere was the worst of the episodes, it was still, I mean, it was gorgeous and had solid storytelling, even if it
And
was.
if your premiere is like the worst part of your show, like that's really
Oh yeah,
not that bad.
that's what you want for sure. Like I talk
Like,
about this all the time. TV pilots are never good.
yeah,
And
they're
this
bad.
this one was good. So and we built from there. We never got back down. I think I'm working on my season long review. I graded that a 7.5 out of 10. That might be generous. I don't know. Everything else is an 8 or above, so that's good. Like good stuff. Yeah. So let us know your comments whether you agree with this. I hope we see some more ambitious stuff in season two. We hope we get to we hope our Keith Lance ship pays off. That's our big one
We
for.
hope we get a C2.
We hope we get a season two. I assume they are. We
I mean,
haven't
I
heard.
would hope so.
We haven't heard confirmation though. That's true. So
Right.
we'll see about that. It's also
So make all
possible.
your friends watch Voltron. Like, do
Yeah.
that. Just blow it up.
Also, considering when like Netflix could have dropped these episodes like a year after they were done, 6 months after they were done, like they could have just finished production. So it's possible season two is like in like 5 months. It seems unlikely, but if Netflix waited a long time just so they could
Yeah.
release the seasons close to each other, then it's possible the next
Yeah.
one's coming soon. So
Just don't know.
we will see. Yeah, but
And
overall,
I've seen commercials for Voltron on TV. So
oh, interesting, cool.
yeah, it was like ironically during a video game like tournament on like that's being televised, they like showed a commercial for it.
Typical. I mean, this was a video game, so that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So there you go. Let us know what you thought. Comments on this article or any of our Voltron articles on overlyanimated.com. If you're watching on YouTube, you can leave us comments there. Tumblr asks, and let us know what you think.
Who do you ship?
I mean, I think we know who people ship. But,
we know.
But yeah, and we will. I think we may or may not have a like a season one. This was our season one wrap up version, but we could may or may not next week have a season one wrap up podcast. I don't know. We'll talk about it, and then
we'll have to see feedback too.
Yeah, like, see if people are listening
to
that and stuff. Yeah, but there you go. Thanks for. Those of you who listens to all of our episode discussions, let me know, please.
Please.
And please, like, I know there are a few who are making their way through, but via interactions on Tumblr. So that's awesome. Thank you guys, and let us know what you thought. This is our first time covering a Netflix model show, so let us know if you like this idea of doing them all at once. We did like 20-minute podcasts. If this show aired weekly, we'd definitely not do longer ones than that. Right. But since like it's one at a time, like they're shorter. So.
And we're tired, and it's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. But that's good. I'm glad we got the 45-minute last one with some great analysis at the end. So thumbs up. Good job, Delaney. Good job, Delaney's internet, for holding out until now to start acting up.
Good job, internet.
Yeah. There you go. Thanks for listening so much, guys. I'm Dylan Hysen, Delaney Stovall, overlyanimated.com. I guess I should thank the patrons because I haven't done that for the previous ones. Oh, Patreon. If you enjoyed our coverage, the best way to support us is through patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to our patrons, Shayna, Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, Rachel, John, Ryan, and Catherine, a.k.a. Hayna, Fever, Mitch, Cordell University, Beach Exchange, Nathan, Fillion, Buzz Laker, Mailman, Rachel Rose, Giant Robert, Brian, and Cook Cat. Coming up on this of the Animated Podcast, Ladybug Origins podcast coming out tomorrow. It's a long one with me and Delaney. We already recorded that. And then next week, Steven Universe talk, Ladybug talk, everything. Potentially Voltron talk. We'll see. Thanks. Thank you so much, guys. Last things, Delaney, anything? You good?
Just Voltron's great, and I'm excited to see more.
Yep. Hopefully we'll hear word on season 2 soon. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.